Pep Guardiola, the man with the Midas touch. Everywhere he goes, he achieves success. One of the best managers in world football, the Spaniard who's managed at Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and now at Manchester City. One thing that has always eluded Pep at his time away from Barcelona is the Champions League trophy, failing to win it at Bayern Munich, and has just recently been knocked out of the UCL quarterfinals against Tottenham. I think it's time to inject some much needed Spanish flair into this Manchester City side and hopefully win the Champions League in a Spain rebuild challenge using FIFA 19 career mode. Let's get into it. So here are the rules and objectives for the Man City Spain rebuild challenge with Pep Guardiola. We must use an all Spanish starting 11 with Pep Guardiola at the helm. Number 2, we must sell all non-Spanish players at the club. Number 3, we need to win the Premier League, a domestic cup competition, either the FA Cup or Carabao Cup, and the Champions League, of course, which we will play the final. Number 4 is we have a 5-season time limit, so we need to get all those things done in 5 seasons. And number 5, we need to bring Pep the Champions League title he craves so much at Manchester City with the Spaniards. Let's get into season number 1. And a special thank you goes to King Rampton, I don't know how to pronounce that, but he suggested it in the comments down below. He said, for a Spanish Manchester City rebuild with Pep Guardiola, guys, if you have any interesting ideas that could fit the mold of a rebuild challenge, make sure to leave it down below. I've been getting some inspiration from you guys down there, so make sure to leave your idea down below and it could turn out to be a video. Anyways, guys, enough messing around. Let's get straight into season number 1. This is probably going to be the toughest one in terms of getting some Spanish getting a Spanish flair into this side, because we literally only have David Silva in here. The rest need to be sold, and I know we're going to get a lot of money for them, so we're going to be bringing in a lot of players and selling a lot of players, just like every rebuild challenge. We literally only have one Spanish starting 11 player. It's going to be David Silva, and he is, what, 32 already, so it's time to invest our money into some Spanish talent that will help improve this side and be dominant under Pep Guardiola. It's going to be a very interesting summer transfer window. Let's get straight into it. And like every single rebuild challenge, we are transfer listing every player that is not Spanish. Well, in this case, that is not Spanish and do not fit the mold of the rebuild challenge. So literally everyone's going on the transfer list besides David Silva. So hopefully we're going to get a lot of offers in, a lot of sales, a lot of purchases. It's going to be one crazy season number 1. Alright guys, I don't know if this counts as transfer business, just a bit more of club management I guess, but we've got 2 high potential young Spaniards out on loan. It's going to be Alex Garcia. He is at Girona, but just for the sake of this rebuild challenge, I'm going to recall him from loan, spending 582k to bring him back to Manchester City. He's going to be in our midfield this season, hopefully doing the business there. Alex Garcia, welcome back to Manchester City. And we also have another Garcia on the cards. It's going to be Manu Garcia. I have no idea if they're related, if they're brothers, if they're cousins. I have no idea with these Spanish midfielders, but it's yet again another midfielder. He's out on loan to Toulouse. I'm going to bring him back for the exact amount of money. So we've spent $1 million to bring back players that are out on loan. He is coming back. Manu, welcome back to Manchester City. Our first 2 pieces of business for the side. Alright, so first piece of business, it is going to be our goalkeeper spot secured for the rest of the rebuild. It is going to be Manchester United's best player in the last few seasons, David De Gea, the Spanish goalkeeper, is off to the other side of Manchester. He is coming over to the blue side of Manchester. Feels very weird completing this transfer, but it is one we had to do. David De Gea, 91 overall. Now he is going to be our main starting goalkeeper, and we picked him up for £57.6 million plus the Brazilian shot stopper Edison going to Manchester United. So a very weird swap deal there. Yet again, the swap deals are going to come in clutch, and it's going to be our first proper player departure. It is going to be the Englishman Kyle Walker. The right back is headed off to AC Milan. The 28-year-old's release clause had been activated for £39.8 million. Farewell, Kyle Walker. Alright, it's yet another player departure. It is going to be Elequim Mangala. The French centre-back is off to fellow Premier League side Fulham for 6.9 million. The 27-year-old is off to London. Alright, there it is. It is going to be Saul from Atletico Madrid, the Spanish central midfielder. The 23-year-old has made his way to Manchester City. Our big money signing, our first big money signing of the rebuild. Saul has joined us for 33.6 million plus Aymeric Laporte, the French centre-back, is on his way to Atletico Madrid. But Saul, a huge pickup for our midfield, and he is going to be a starter well and truly this season. Welcome to Manchester, Saul. So we have gone ahead and picked up the Spanish striker Santi Mina for £21.9 million. Our new number 9 is going to be leading the line for us in season number 1. He joins us here under Pep Guardiola in the Premier League. Welcome to Manchester, Santi Mina. So it's going to be a massive departure here. The German midfielder Ilkay Gundogan, former Borussia Dortmund man, is headed off to La Liga. He's headed to Barcelona for £36.2 million. Ilkay Gundogan, he is off to Spain. He is off to Pep Guardiola's former side in Barcelona. He managed and played there, so Ilkay Gundogan, farewell. And we've also gone ahead and sold the Belgian, the captain, Vincent Kompany, the now 32-year-old centre-back, has headed off to Turkey. He is out of Manchester City after being here for so long. Vincent Kompany finally parts way with the blue side of Manchester. He is off to Fenerbahce for £15.1 million. And yet another spicy Spanish addition to the side. It is going to be the Real Madrid man Marco Asensio coming and joining Pep Guardiola in Manchester. He has joined us for £54.7 million. The left winger slash cam is 84 rated, 22 years of age, one of my favourite wonder kids in all FIFA career mode, and he is joining us here. Zidane has let him go to the Spanish Revolution. Marco Asensio, welcome to Manchester City. And just when you thought the midfield pickups couldn't get any more massive, it is going to be Isco Disco, the man coming from Real Madrid. We've completed the Real Madrid double swoop. Two Spanish midfielders that are lacking game time at Real Madrid are on their way to Manchester City. Isco comes for £73.4 million. He is on his way. The 87 rated 26-year-old has joined Pep Guardiola and the Spanish Revolution. He is going to be one of our key players this season, and I can't wait to see what he does for us. Welcome to Manchester, Isco Disco. And the Ukrainian left back Alexander Zinchenko is on his way to the south of England. He is off to Bournemouth for £10.5 million. The 21-year-old is headed there. And it's something never done in rebuild history before. We've completed the Real Madrid triple swoop here with the pickup of Alvaro Odriozola. The Spanish right back is on his way to Manchester City. We activated his release clause. It was the only way we could go and pick him up. The 22-year-old right back is going to solidify that right back spot, replacing Kyle Walker, and pretty much being our starter for the rest of the rebuild. 80 overall, he's going to grow heaps, and we picked him up for £33.7 million. And it's our first out-and-out centre-back signing. It is going to be the Spaniard Jorge Mer, coming from Cologne in the Bundesliga 2, I believe. They're in the second division of Germany, but the Spanish centre-back has got a decent potential on him. He's still 21, so we can grow into our starting centre-back and maybe even our captain. We picked him up for £15.9 million. Hopefully we can go out and find him a decent centre-back partner. And we've picked up a strike partner for Santi Mina. It is going to be Iñaki Williams, the fierce Spanish winger slash striker, comes and joins the Spanish Revolution for £27.1 million from Atletico Bilbao. He has been a career mode legend for so many years now, and we're finally picking him up. We're finally using in this Pep Rebuild Challenge. Iñaki Williams, welcome to the blue side of Manchester. So the hidden gem of FIFA 19 career mode, Junior Firpo, coming from Real Betis, joins us here with Pep Guardiola and the Spanish Revolution. One of the most versatile players you can pick up. 21 years of age, 78 overall, has got a great potential on the game and will surely grow throughout this rebuild. He can play left back, centre back, left mid. He is a great pickup. We picked him up cheap as chips, £12.2 million. Alright, so we have the pre-season Community Shield up against Chelsea at Wembley. This is what the side is looking like so far. We've got Asensio in a kind of position where he's a makeshift striker, but a forward nonetheless. We'll experiment with that and see what happens throughout the rebuild, but this is the side so far. We've still got a bit more business to get through, a few more sales and a few more purchases, but David Silva gets us underway with our first goal in the Spanish Revolution right here against Chelsea at Wembley. 10 minutes in, we're going to simulate it, and our spinning Isco Disco gets us the second. In the 74th minute, Pep Guardiola wins the Community Shield. And our Argentine centre-back Nicolas Otamendi, he is off to title rivals this season, well, especially in real life, Liverpool. He's off to Anfield for £28.8 million and a huge departure. Leroy Sané, the German, off to Juventus. He's off to Turin to join Ronaldo in Serie A. The Bianconeri really making a statement with this signing, but we have sold him for £81.3 million. It's going to be a healthy addition to the transfer budget. And it's not the double, it's not the triple, it is the quadruple swoop of Real Madrid players. We brought yet another massive Spanish talent to the club. It is, of course, another midfielder. It is going to be Dani Ceballos. The midfielder joins us here for £29.9 million. He's coming and joining Pep Guardiola like a lot of his Real Madrid teammates have done in this summer transfer window. The 22-year-old is 81 overall. He can settle in the Premier League and develop along the way as well in this rebuild challenge. So another young defensive centre-back talent that we've brought into the club. This time, it's not from Real Madrid. It is going to be from Espanyol. £12.8 million for Mario Hermoso, the Spanish centre-back, is going to join us. He's got 86 potential on the game, so let's hope he can grow and develop into a starting centre-back. 78 overall, 23 years of age. The defender joins us here for the Spanish Revolution. So the versatile Spanish midfielder Pablo Fornals joins us here from Villarreal. Kind of a wonder kid that hasn't really been that popular, but has always been there and has always had some decent potential in the past few FIFAs. A backup centre attacker midfielder. He can play on the wings. He can play in a lot of positions. The man from Villarreal joins us. Another La Liga talent. Welcome to Manchester, Pablo Fornals. Oh yeah, and he joined us for £30.5 million. Alright, so it's going to be a deadline day departure for the Brazilian central midfielder Fernandinho. The midfield rock is going to be joining Real Madrid Los Blancos, a team that we've stolen so many players off this rebuild, so we might as well give back. And he has joined them for £22.4 million, a 33-year-old. Farewell, Fernandinho. So we go ahead and pick up a double midfield signing. It is going to be Carlos Soler. The man from Valencia joins us here. The right midfielder slash central midfielder. We pretty much drained the budget for him. He joins us for £25.831,797 million. I don't know how to say that number, but he is going to join us here under Pep Guardiola, as well as Mikel Oyarzabal, signing for £26.8 million. A more simple transfer fee there. 21-year-old left winger is yet another bright talent out of La Liga, and it's coming from Real Sociedad. And we also sold Chilean goalkeeper Claudio Bravo to Atletico Mineiro. I believe that is a Brazilian club. The Chilean, the 35-year-old, is off there for £2.7 million. We are having a damn busy deadline day. So that is going to be all our business come deadline day. It has been a massive, not January transfer window, it's been a massive summer transfer window for Pep Guardiola, getting in the Spanish injection into Manchester City, and we've spent big, we've sold big. It is going to be a massive season. Now it is time to see how the boys can perform in season number 1. We'll see what deals we can pull off in January. Meanwhile, let's see how the boys do in the first half of season number 1. So we're halfway through the Premier League season, 20 games in, and we're pretty much where we want to be, on top, 10 points clear of second place Spurs, 50 points, create a 10-point gap, still undefeated. So Pep Guardiola and the Spaniards could go undefeated this season. Still the second half to go. Man United and Wolves make up the top 4. Meanwhile, it's Watford, Brighton and Fulham all in the relegation zone. We ended up getting knocked out of the Carabao Cup in round 4 to Swansea City, and that leaves for a pretty mediocre semi-final. Alright, Champions League, let's see how we did. The boys are in the round of 16 against Roma, but how we do in the group? Oh, it was a pretty easy group in the end. I forgot Man City's group in real life was so easy. And of course, in the first season of career mode, they've killed it. We went undefeated in the Champions League as well. They have 5 wins and 1 draw. We finished on top. We got Roma and a bit of January business. It's going to be a January departure. Benjamin Mendy, the French left back, Mr. I get injured a lot, Mr. Shark team. He is off to Red Bull Salzburg. A good pickup for them. He is gone for £30.1 million. And Felix Nmecha, the Englishman, is off to FC Sion for £830,000. The 18-year-old is off to Switzerland. And it's another wing-back deadline day departure. It is going to be the Brazilian right-back Danilo. He's off to Galatasaray for £13.5 million. The 27-year-old is departing the club. So all departures for the January transfer window. Mendy, Nmecha, and Danilo find their way out of the club and hopefully can pull a few deals off before the season starts too. Let's get into the second half of season number 1. So we've completed a transfer outside the transfer window. It is going to be Marc Bartra, a purchase which I wanted to do in January, but the negotiations fell through, so we've had to wait until outside the transfer window, and now he's going to be joining us at the start of season number 2. Marc Bartra, welcome to Manchester City in advance. And Pep Guardiola picked him up for £32 million. And we've completed a bit more out of the transfer window deals. It is Sergio Aguero finally getting an offer for him. It was from Liverpool nonetheless. The 30-year-old Argentine is headed to Merseyside for £73.8 million. A great deal in my eyes. We're getting a lot of cash for him. Farewell, Sergio Aguero. And yet another massive piece of transfer business being done in this period outside the transfer window. So ironic, but it's Bernardo Silva off to our rivals, Manchester United. The Red Devils get to have the Portuguese wonder kid, the Portuguese star, for £96.6 million. They've shelled out nearly £100 million for Bernardo Silva. We've literally picked up like £160 million worth. That is absolutely crazy. Farewell, Bernardo Silva. He switches to the other side of Manchester. Bit of a dog act, but we'll forgive him. So Pep Guardiola's 3rd season in charge of Manchester City ends up in yet another title win, back-to-back for Pep Guardiola, and this time he's done it with some Spanish influence, an all-Spanish starting 11 and reserves for Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. It's Spurs finishing in 2nd, Man United right behind them in 3rd, and Liverpool right in that 4th position. Chelsea right outside the top 4. As we scroll down, Arsenal finished in 12th. The poor season from them. It's the same teams at the halfway stage. Huddersfield, Fulham, and Watford all condemned to the Championship. We ended up getting knocked out of the FA Cup 2-0 to Crystal Palace, so there's a bit to improve on in the domestic cup stage, and it was more cup competition disappointment to follow for Pep Guardiola and the Spanish lads as they lost 1-0 on aggregate to Roma. A poor first Champions League campaign for the Spaniards, but hopefully they can improve as we look to see who won the final. It was Tottenham Hotspur 2-1. So at the end of season number 1, Pep Guardiola secured the Premier League title, which is one objective ticked off the list. Some more transfer business to be done, of course. So let's get into season number 2 with the Spanish Revolution. So we've entered season number 2 with the cup competitions in our sights. We've gotten the emails confirming that Silva, Aguero have left the club, and also Marc Bartra has joined us here. And there we go, the official shirt reveal, the official confirmation. Marc Bartra for £32 million, a welcomed addition to our defense, and is going to help us so much, as well as Manchester City capturing Aguero from us. And that just doesn't look right. Bernardo Silva in Manchester United colours, the Portuguese man, has jumped ship to the red side of Manchester. And with those 2 sales, we now, at the start of season number 2, have £442 million to spend. Absolutely crazy money. That is the team for season number 2. Let's see what improvements we can make. Let's see what players we can sell. But yeah, season number 2, let's get into it. And our first signing of season number 2 is going to be Thiago from Bayern Munich. The 28-year-old, 87 rated, is a Guardiola favourite. Played with him at Barcelona, Bayern, and now he's joining him at Manchester City. We picked him up for £32.4 million, plus David Silva, who's headed off to Germany And the midfield additions just keep on rolling in. Spain are just filled with so many good midfielders. You'd expect that from their tiki-taka style of play, but it's going to be Fabian, the man from Napoli, coming in for £52.4 million. A 23-year-old has a 90 potential in FIFA 19 career mode, and why not pick him up and let him join the Spanish Revolution and be managed under Pep Guardiola? Welcome to Manchester City, Fabian Ruiz. And it's another massive upgrade into the team. It is going to be the left back Alejandro Grimaldo, a former Barcelona youth player. He's going to join the Spanish Revolution here at Manchester City. Pep Guardiola wants him for the left back position, and we're going to seal him for £43.2 million. Alejandro Grimaldo comes from PSG, 84 rated now, and is a massive upgrade to that left back spot. Okay guys, it's fair to say that this is probably the biggest sale, the biggest transfer out of the club we've had so far. Raheem Sterling is off to fellow Premier League club Everton for £115.6 million. The Evertonians pick up the ex-Liverpool player for a massive transfer fee. That is a massive pickup for Everton, as well as Gabriel Jesus headed off to Spain. He is going to Atletico Madrid for £88.6 million. And Barcelona have secured the services of John Stones for £41.1 million. The Englishman is headed off to La Liga. He's headed off to Pep Guardiola's former side, the 25-year-old John Stones. Have fun in Barcelona. And after 2 seasons, we've finally secured a backup goalkeeper for David De Gea. It is going to be Paul Lopez from Real Betis for £33.8 million. The 24-year-old is 84 rated, has got a decent potential. It is Kevin De Bruyne moving to Liverpool for £164.5 million. Liverpool were the first team to come in for him. I gave him to him. He's not Spanish, so he is off. And the goalkeeper from Kosovo, Arijanet Muric, I believe, the 20-year-old, is off to Parma for £1.15 million. Okay, that is a ridiculous amount of transfer money. And we go ahead and pick up a backup centre forward option after we sold so many attackers this season. We have picked up Suso from AC Milan, the right winger / centre forward. He can play up top. The 25-year-old joins us for £48 million, and it's going to be a backup right back option here. Arsenal fans might be a little triggered by this transfer. It is going to be Hector Bellerin joining us for £30.2 million. He comes not from Arsenal, but from Lyon in this career mode save. The 24-year-old now is 82 rated. And the Spanish midfield ace, Rodri from Atletico Madrid, comes and joins us for season number 2. £55.2 million it cost us, but it was his release clause. We activated it, who will be a great backup and great depth option for Thiago. So yeah, a great midfield pickup there. Welcome to Manchester City. And it's an Atletico Madrid double swoop here. We have yet another midfielder from Atletico Madrid. We seem to be getting a lot of our talent from the Madrid sides. It is Koke. He is joining us for £49.6 million. Now 27 years of age, 85 overall. The Spanish Revolution gains another midfield ace. It'll also be a good tester to see what we can do in the Premier League season as well against Premier League opposition. Let's go ahead and skip it. We end up getting the 2-0 win. It's that man up top, Inaki Williams, with the double to lift us the Community Shield for 2 years running. And there's going to be 2 minor departures here. Douglas Luiz is off to Brighton, the Brazilian midfielder, which is actually a decent signing for Brighton for £8.1 million, as well as the Dutch centre-back Philippe Tandler is off to Saint Etienne for £4.95 million. And a bit of a major departure. I mean, we've been trying to sell him for a long time, and it's the last major Manchester City player that was remaining at the club, really. Riyad Mahrez, the Algerian, for £42.6 million. We've got to repay the favour. I mean, Real Madrid have given us like 4 players this rebuild, so we've given them back Riyad Mahrez. And a few little minor departures here for the club as well. Claudio Gomez, the French midfielder, is off to Bristol City for £1.4 million, the 19-year-old, as well as Adara Bayo, the English centre-back. The 21-year-old is off to Leverkusen for £2.2 million. And the English wonder kid Phil Foden is off to Arsenal, is off to London rivals in the Gunners. He leaves us for £17.2 million. He is 78 overall, of course still 19 years of age. A few small departures here as well, as Jack Harrison, the left midfielder, the English left midfielder, is off to Besiktas for £5.1 million as well. 20-year-old striker is off to Red Bull Salzburg for £3.9 million. For £3.9 million. And the backup short-term signing for us here in the striker position is going to be Rodrigo, the Spaniard, 28 years of age now, and I feel like just the other day he was the Spanish wonder kid emerging from Benfica, but now he has joined Pep Guardiola in Manchester for this Spanish Revolution for £31.6 million. And our Champions League group for season number 2 is going to be revealed by the man in the suit. He's going to pull out our name and reveal what group we are pulled in for the Champions League this season. We have not in A, B, C or D. We are in the next 4 groups. We have got Porto, Olympic Lyon and Lokomotiv Moscow. We couldn't have asked for a harder group. We should be looking to finish top of that group. And I'd say a minor departure, but it's an accidental one at that, because Mari is off to Brighton for £3.8 million, a 26-year-old centre-back. I didn't realise before selling him was Spanish. The man came back from loan. And yeah, we've sold him to Brighton. I would have kept him, but I didn't realise he was a Spaniard. Anyway, farewell, Mari. So we've reached transfer deadline day of the summer window, and not too much action to report on transfer deadline day. It was more to do with what we did in the summer window. 376 million spent, £500 million gained. Pep Guardiola is absolutely swimming in cash at the moment. And we're going to continue on and see how the boys do in the first half of season number 2. This is how they are going to be lining up. So we're halfway through the Premier League season, and yet again, we're where we want to be. Pep Guardiola knows how to do the Premier League. It's his bread and butter. 44 points. We're sitting pretty on top, and yet again, we are undefeated. 20 games in, 12 wins, 8 draws. Everton, Wolves, and Man United make up the top 4. Arsenal and Spurs lurking right outside the top 4. Chelsea and Liverpool not doing too well. However, Norwich, Newcastle and Derby County are all in the relegation zone. And we were knocked out 2-1 by Chelsea in round 3 of the Carabao Cup, so yet another early cup exit. And in the Champions League, like you would expect, we topped the group there with 16 points, 5 wins and 1 draw, yet again undefeated in the Champions League. And we go on to the round of 16, taking on Olympiacos, and we're sourcing some more Spanish talent from AC Milan. It is going to be yet another winger slash midfielder joining us. It is Samu Castillejo here at the Spanish Revolution. The ex-Villarreal man is 84 rated, 24 years of age, and we ended up picking him up for £56.1 million plus Moreno, who was a Colombian, I believe. So we ended up getting rid of a non-Spanish player and putting in a Spanish player. Castillejo, welcome to Manchester City. And it is going to be Paco Alcacer, the long-awaited striker. I've been meaning to pick up this entire rebuild from Borussia Dortmund. For £55 million he joins Manchester City, and that's our 2 transfer deals done. Let's see who else we can sell in this window, but there is Paco Alcacer, 84 rated, 26 years of age, a great striker, a great Spanish striker to pick up. Alright, we have reached deadline day. That is going to be all our business for January season number 2. It's going to be Castillejo and Paco Alcacer in, Moreno out for that swap deal there. But that is going to wrap up the business for this season. Let's see how the boys do in the second half of the season. This is how the team looks so far. We got Bellerin coming in at centre back because we've gotten some injuries throughout the season. However, it is pretty much all Spanish besides these 4 players down here who can't get sold, but they're pretty much not going to be in the starting 11 anyway. But the rest of the team is looking like this. Spanish all around. Sayul getting a bit of rest in there, but that is the all-Spanish Pep Guardiola side going into the second half of season number 2. Let's see how the boys do. So one of the last non-Spanish players to leave the club, it is going to be the English right midfielder, Patrick Roberts. He is off to Serie A. He's off to Lazio for a free transfer. His contract was expiring and they picked him up on a pre-contract, and I'm happy with that. And the last 2 non-Spanish players, Garay and Herrera, they're going to leave the club anyway because we're not going to renew their contracts, of course. So by the start of season number 3, it'll be an all-Spanish team, an all-Spanish club. Oh yeah, and we are dumped out of the Champions League in the semi-finals up against Spanish opposition Real Madrid. So I guess we'll have to focus on the Champions League for season number 3. We're not going to do it in a record second season, but Pep Guardiola has a chance for his players to grow and to improve the squad for next season in order to charge our way to the final. However, sets it up beautifully for an El Clasico Champions League final. So after that semi-final win up against Wolves, we find ourselves in the FA Cup final up against London team Fulham. So let's see how we go in this one. A chance for Pep Guardiola to tick off the domestic cup objective. Objective number 3. We've won the Premier League already. We need to win a domestic cup in order to complete the challenge and focus on the Champions League for next season. So that is what we need to do here today at Wembley. Hopefully the boys in blue can get the job done, and Saul does exactly that. 40 minutes in, he strikes and breaches the Fulham defense. We break the deadlock here at Wembley. Isco misses a penalty. Odriozola a red card. That is a disaster. 5 minutes there. Can we hold on? Mina gets the second, and we win the FA Cup. I thought Fulham would have equalised there, but Mina secures the win for us and gets us a domestic title, gets Pep a domestic title with the Spanish lads. The FA Cup is now in Manchester City's hands. So at the end of the season now, we end up getting the domestic double. We win the Premier League by 2 points. It was a very close in the end, like all seasons have been in this rebuild challenge. 2 points separated us from Spurs, and we end up getting the Premier League and the FA Cup, so that was pretty good from the Pep boys. But Man United round up the top 4, Everton and Spurs in there as well. Chelsea, Liverpool and Arsenal miss out on top 4 positions. However, Leeds United, Derby County and Norwich City all condemned to the championship. It was Aston Villa who ended up winning the Carabao Cup there. 4-3 on penalties to Manchester United. 2-2 it was, who got forced into penalties. What a final that could have been. Aston Villa, I don't remember the last time they won anything. And Barcelona ended up winning an El Clasico Champions League final 2-2 in extra time, but won 5-4 on penalties. So Barcelona end up getting the edge over their rivals, a former Pep Guardiola team as well. And to round up season 2, these were our main performers. Saul playing a whopping 62 games there, 14 goals and 9 assists. Odriozola being our main right back. Bartra, Grimaldo being our main defenders in there as well. De Gea being our main keeper with 19 clean sheets. Soler doing pretty well, as well as Inaki Williams, 27 goals. Definitely our top goal scorer, the Spanish striker slash right midfielder. We have Koke with 3 goals and 8 assists. Hermoso in there. Firpo with a bit of game time. Rodrigo off the bench doing really well. Bellerin getting a lot of game time, as well as Mina. So our backup strikers are doing their job. They're getting the goals they need to. Asensio, you expect a bit more return from him, from an 88 rated player, but he is getting the job done, as well as Thiago. Isco as well. Fornals, a backup midfielder, getting 5 goals in there, but that is going to be it. Our Cesar, our January signing, got 8 goals in the second half of the season, which is a pretty decent return. However, those are the main performers for this season. The Spanish Pep Guardiola side are going to go into season number 3, hopefully aiming for that Champions League trophy, considering it's the only thing we need to complete the rebuild challenge. But let's get into season number 3 and get the job done. And to kick off season number 3, we finally arrived in it, and we could do something that I've been willing to do for so long in this team. We are going to go to this player I've never heard of before. I didn't even know he played for Manchester City. He's American, and we are going to release him and finally make this team all Spanish and go after the Champions League title with Pep Guardiola. There we have it. The whole side is Spanish. No more intruders, no more non-Spanish players. We've got the all-Spanish side ready to take on Europe. Let's get into season number 3. And I've been really struggling to find players that we could actually buy and improve this squad with, because we've pretty much got every single highly rated Spanish player in this side, including some Manchester City extras. So I don't really think there's going to be many departures or any purchases this season. So season number 3 will probably be the most simple and straightforward season we've ever had. This is the strongest starting lineup we can go for. I mean, it feels weird having $500 million and having no idea how to improve the team or no idea what to spend it on. But that's the beauty of these rebuild challenges and being limited to only one nationality. Let's hope we can complete the challenge in season number 3. And yeah, like I said, pretty quiet window by our standards. We've reached the last hour of deadline day and nothing going on with the club because the squad is pretty much in tip-top shape. It's pretty much perfect. So we're going to go into season number 3 with no changes, no sales, no purchases. And yet again, for season number 3, we get gifted with an easy Champions League group. It is going to be Group E. Besides AC Milan, which we've stolen half their Spanish players off them, Dinamo Kiev and Standard Liège make up the group. Hopefully we can finish out on top and progress through to the next round. So we've reached halfway throughout the season, and it's something we're not used to in this Pep Rebuild Challenge. We're sitting in second, right behind Spurs in first position. They have 54 points. We're in second. Chelsea and Watford make up the top 4. Bournemouth in 5th. And Arsenal sitting there in 6th. We ended up winning the FA Community Shield 2-1 against Spurs. We're still in the FA Cup. We're in the round 3 against Bournemouth. And I don't know why the Carabao Cup just hates us. We always get eliminated early in the Carabao Cup. We got eliminated 2-1 against Arsenal. And this is what was most important. We ended up escaping our Champions League group, not in first but in second, and AC Milan finished on top by 2 points. However, we do end up progressing to the next round up against Borussia Dortmund, and AC Milan got Chelsea, so I think we might have got the easier draw there, but in the round of 16, we're up against the German Giants in Borussia Dortmund. So we've reached the end of the season, and Pep Guardiola ended up finishing 3rd in the Premier League with his City Spanish side with 76 points. Spurs ended up winning the league with 84, and Chelsea right above us with 77. Liverpool and Arsenal finish out the top 5. Man United in 6th, and the teams getting relegated are Southampton, Stoke, and Huddersfield Town, all going to the Championship. We ended up reaching the FA Cup final against Aston Villa, which we will go ahead and simulate individually and see if Pep can win a piece of silverware this season. Stoke ended up winning the Carabao Cup 4-3 on penalties to Liverpool after a 1-1 draw. And in the round of 16, we ended up going through on away goals 4-4. Wow, what a result. In the quarterfinals, we ended up winning 3-2 on aggregate to Paris Saint-Germain. PSG, we knocked them out. And then Barcelona, we actually won 2-1 against them. 2-1 on aggregate to put us into the final against Atletico Madrid. How fitting, a Spanish team we are coming up against for a Spanish rebuild challenge. Pep Guardiola is going to be facing a team he's faced so many times. What an interesting matchup there. And this is a side going into the FA Cup final up against Aston Villa. And I still think they're in the Championship in this career mode save. However, we're going in against them. They've had a really decent cup run so far, so we might have to be wary of them. However, surely the Spanish lads can get the job done. Inaki Williams opens the scoring there 1 minute in. Aston Villa have a pretty decent side. They still have Grealish, but Inaki Williams gets the double. He end up winning 5-1. Asensio off the bench to get a brace. Inaki Williams and Asensio with a brace. Bartra in amongst the goals as well. Guardiola wins 5-1 in the FA Cup final. The Spanish rebuild boys get another trophy under their belt. And right before we get into the Champions League final, we're going to check out the squad report for one last time in this rebuild challenge, just to see how everyone grew and performed this season under Pep Guardiola, and seeing that a lot of players got some decent game time. However, there were some more that got a lot of game time. Alcesa, Fabian, Sayul, Bartra, a lot of players, Inaki Williams, Odriozola. Just a solid team we've built in general, and Soler ended up getting the most amount with 51. But what a side we have built here. The Spanish lads are ready to take on the world. Such a good team we have on our hands under Pep Guardiola. Hopefully they can go on, do the unthinkable, and win the Champions League in season number 3. And our ex-player in Gabriel Jesus is going to get us underway here in the Champions League final. Ball into Sayul, the former Atletico Madrid man. He finds some space down this right-hand side to give it off to Carlos Soler. Carlos Soler gives it off to Alcesa. Asensio! And Oblak was equal to it. Sayul. Back to Paco Alcacer and Oblak. Soler. You can see Paco Alcacer. It's a beautiful run from Fabian. Can he finish off the move? And it's going to be Jimenez with the vital block. Sayul gives it off to Inaki Williams. He finds someone in the middle. It's Paco Alcacer. And he has got us underway here 10 minutes before the half. And Paco Alcacer, the man, gets us 1-0 up in the Champions League final, breaking the Atletico Madrid defense, and it was a brilliant strike from the lad. Striker who we picked up late on has buried it into the back of the net. A beautiful passage of play, and it's the left foot lethal strike from him that puts it past Oblak. The ball was behind him. He had to readjust his body, and we finally get a shot on goal. Oblak doesn't save this one, and we go 1-0 up in the final. We've given the ball away here. Gabriel Jesus, brilliant defending from Bartra, but he gets through. Gelson Martins gets the equaliser. 5 minutes later, are you kidding me? We give the ball away cheaply. Bartra just doesn't even attempt to tackle him. And Gelson Martins with the diving header, the Portuguese man for Atletico Madrid, gets them the equaliser in this one. And yeah, poor defending from Bartra. Gabriel Jesus went through him way too easily. And the diving header from Gelson Martins fools De Gea. And it's all tied up here at the Olympico. Fabian finds Carlos Soler. Can he get the strike away? It's off the crossbar. And the header back on goal to Williams is way off target. And that could have easily been the second right before half-time. Alcacer finds Carlos Soler, and what a save from Oblak. That could have been a brilliant goal on the volley. Grimaldo. Asensio fires it in. It's going to land back to Sayul, the former Atletico Madrid man, and it's off the post this time. We've hit the post, we've hit the crossbar, all in a matter of a few minutes. Going into the second 45, 1-1. We've got a lot of work to do. We've dominated most of the match, but Atletico Madrid made the most of their chances. Beautiful play. Carlos Soler is in on goal, and he's put it through Oblak's legs. And after all his chances in the first half, he finally capitalizes on this one, stirs up the pot, and gets the second right on the second half. It was a kickoff goal in the end, but it doesn't matter how you score them. What a passage of play there from the boys. Ultimate concentration. And in the end, it was a low-driven power strike from Carlos Soler, who's been having a great match down that right-hand side. And Pep Guardiola's men are into the lead, finally, in the second half. Position, Alcesa can whip the ball in. Inaki Williams is there, and it's 3. Inaki Williams finally gets his goal, and it's the third at the Olympico. We go 3-1 up, and it's a beautiful header from Inaki Williams. The strike partnership in Alcesa and Williams link up, and it's a beautiful cross from the throw-in. The number 23 heads it past Oblak and leaps like a salmon over the Atletico Madrid defense into the bottom right-hand corner, and that is simply unstoppable. Williams. Not going to give it off. He's going to wait for a runner in Sayul, and what a save from Oblak. Asensio. Back to Sayul. Sayul finds Inaki Williams, and I thought that was in. But he finds Gabriel Jesus. That was a beautiful over-the-top ball, and they've worked it brilliantly. And what a save from David De Gea. Dani Ceballos, Castillejo, and Isco are coming on for Fabian, Sayul, and Asensio. Fresh off the bench, Castillejo. Ceballos wins it back. Inaki Williams, and that is the 4th. What a goal, the double for Inaki Williams, and we have killed off this Champions League final. Pep Guardiola's boys are minutes away from lifting the Champions League trophy after an Inaki Williams brace to make it 4-1. And a beautiful passage of play. Dani Ceballos, fresh off the bench, the instigator in that goal, wins the ball back, gives it off to Inaki Williams on the volley, and Oblak, after all those saves, finally lets in another goal, and it was well deserved for Man City as well. And that is going to be full time, 4-1 in the end. Pep Guardiola's boys win quite comfortably, and finally a rebuild final that hasn't gone down to the wire or hasn't gone to penalties. We've completed it in the 90 minutes here at the start. Revolution for Manchester City does it on the big stage, and we get the 4-1 victory against Atletico Madrid, a Spanish side, and a side in which we stole a lot of Spanish players from. The boys are going to celebrate now, guys. Thank you so much for watching this rebuild challenge. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to slap a like on it, subscribe down below, it's the big red button, turn on post notifications so you never miss a video, follow me on Twitter, the link is in the description, comment down below any rebuild challenge ideas. I'm going to leave you guys with the Pep Guardiola Spanish Rebuild Revolution Challenge and them lifting up the Champions League trophy.